Damn, that's a lot of bowing. I can feel the respect from here. Although most people in Tokyo use public transit, Hal must be judicious on how he uses his time. Running as many businesses as he does, traveling by car is the only practical solution. So in the culinary industry, what do you think is the difference between Japan and the rest of the world? Japan and the rest of the world. He says that, for example, in the States, talented young chefs are able to find investors to help start their restaurant businesses, so even if they fail, they can find another investor to start a different restaurant, whereas in Japan, investors are rare.
Супер, Джоб 40, не здорово. Как он об этом говорил, это видео, то, что там дальше. Ну вот надо, да. Сладкий.
So succeeding the first time is critical. In fact, when he started his first restaurant in Kobe, he had to take on a high interest loan to get the restaurant started. Kobe, he had to take on a high interest loan to get the restaurant started. He had to take on a high interest loan to get the restaurant started.
Привет! Скажу одну мысль, которая вызовет у вас массу противоречий. Собственник бизнеса – это плохой операционный управленец. Внимание, собственник бизнеса – это плохой операционный управленец. Почему так? Давайте разберем этот вопрос. Кстати, более подробно о теме операционного управления я буду говорить совсем скоро на бесплатной серии онлайн-мастер-классов «Бизнес». Если мои рассуждения покажутся вам интересными, и вы поймете, что да, действительно, мне стоит об этом узнать более подробно, то просто кликайте по ссылке, которую вы видите на экране, и регистрируйтесь на бесплатную, абсолютно бесплатную серию онлайн-мастер-классов 5 дней. Итак, собственный бизнес – плохое операционное управление. Почему так? Давайте рассмотрим владельца компании с некой такой психологической точки зрения. Смотрите, для того, чтобы управлять бизнесом, нужны две роли. Нужна роль предпринимателя, который является визионером, умеющим видеть новые возможности в окружающем мире.
So this is his udon restaurant in Ibiza. Uh-oh, I think something has caught his eye at the storefront. Looks like he's telling the manager to take it down. I guess it's all in the details. Even the sign presentation has caught his attention.
Второй.
Even the sign presentation has caught his attention. How does it taste?
味は美味しいと思うけど、うどんが硬すぎて全然ダメ。きつねうどんを作ってカツ丼も作って、でもちょっとでいいからうどんがって全然ダメ。きつねうどんを作ってカツ丼も作って、でもちょっとでいいからうどんの中に入れるだけ。その
So to maintain the quality of food and service at each of his restaurants, he must schedule periodic visits. I asked if he can simply hire someone to do these checks for him, but Hal says it's difficult for someone to completely know how each dish is to taste, so he has to do it himself.
So it's getting a little bit intense over there as he teaches the staff how to prepare the udon noodles. I think it was the 5th time they brought it out and it's still not coming out right. Luckily, Hal's been nice enough to prepare some udon for me. So I'm just going to eat while he's over there instructing them how to make proper udon noodles. The curry sauce is amazing. It's a little bit spicy. It's a super thick. This is like the best curry udon I've ever had. Noodles hard or not.
Okay, we're getting hands-on now. Hal mentions it's actually common for preparation and flavors to change over time. It's not the cook's fault as this naturally happens, but rather it's the master chef's responsibility to routinely taste the food to ensure that each dish is prepared correctly. Okay, we're getting hands-on now. Hal mentions it's actually common for preparation and flavors to change over time. It's not the cook's fault as this naturally happens, but rather it's the master chef's responsibility to routinely taste the food to ensure that each dish is prepared correctly. Hal, what's wrong with the pork katsu?
もちろん彼も味を
Dish is prepared correctly. Hal, what's wrong with the pork katsu?
もちろん彼も味をつけてると思うんです。ソルトの量は一緒なんですよ。ホワイトペッパーとブラックペッパーでしょ。あと包丁のカットの切れ目。粉のつけ方、ちょっと技術的なの。それを入れるだけでこれだけ味変わるんですよ。
Wow, how many times have you asked him to remake the noodles?
9回目。
Damn, that's a lot of bowls. Well, now that the quality has been...
9回目。
Damn, that's a lot of bowls. Well, now that the quality has been restored, time to update the menu specials. In Japan, it's common to be written by hand. Well, we're ready to move on. I think it took longer than expected. You were working by yourself at first, right? Can I ask if it was easier alone or in a large team like now?
仕事の量は一人でやってた時の方が圧倒的に少なかったんですけど、今はその一つの仕事にいろんなメンバーが関わってるんですけど、同時にいろんなプロジェクトがずーっと動いていくので、もちろん一人では多分絶対できない。どっちもいいけど、まあ今やってる方がやっぱりいろんな人と出会えるからいいんじゃないですか。
So on our way back, Hal has decided to stop by 2 of his other shops to see how the staff are doing. Oh, this is the cupcake shop.
И даже мне найдется место для себя, понимаешь? Понимаешь? Даже мне найдется, даже такому странному человеку. ちょっと見つけました。本当にしながら。もうなるとじゃあ。なんだろうな。なんかで変になった。今の時に。なるとかしながら。
Oh, and this is his lounge restaurant. It even has a sushi counter. He's really into everything. Finally, back to Roppongi. While many workers in Tokyo are clocking out at this time, Hal is just getting started. Born in Kobe, known for its mountains, oceans, sake, and Kobe beef, as well as traveling the world, all helped influence Hal to create a new style of cuisine called Shinwashoku, which utilizes modern techniques to bring out the full potential of Japanese ingredients. One of Hal's specialties is his signature rolled Kobe beef filled with sea urchin and topped with smoked caviar. But as a master chef, he's able to prepare Kobe beef dishes in many different ways. So, what would you say the most important thing is when you cook?
大事な人に食べてもらおうと思って作られた。一個ずつ。僕らやっぱり1日何十ってやるじゃないですか。だからもう毎回やっても常にベストコロ。
Wow, so this is what it's like being behind the kitchen. I've never been behind it before. And it's actually pretty tight. It's like 4 or 5 different chefs in this like narrow space, but they're all working together. And they don't seem to like bump into each other. Everyone works together so well. Looks like Hal's gonna be here for the rest of the night. So I guess we're just gonna wait until he finishes. How long have you been working here for? So what's the most difficult thing?
そうですね。やっぱりお肉焼いたりするのがシェフはすごくこだわりがある。それに応えられるようにするのが結構大変です。ありがとうございます。
Are you not going home yet? Hal, what time do you usually go home? Hal, what time do you usually go home?
Alright, so that's the day in the life of Japanese master chef. What do you guys think? If you like this video, help me out and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more day in the life videos, I have more coming. Definitely hit that subscribe button and the bell button. If you guys want to see what I'm doing on the daily, definitely check out my Instagram account. If you want to help support the channel, check out the Tokyo merch. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He's still working, and I think it's time to go home.
Торговые идеи от открытия брокера. Экономьте время и силы на анализе рынка, пока одни из лучших аналитиков России готовят для вас торговые рекомендации. Фундаментальные и технические идеи, как для профессионалов, так и для начинающих инвесторов. Получайте удобное оповещение. Вдохновляйтесь торговыми идеями. Совершайте сделки в пару кликов и получайте до 8% кэшбэка от комиссии за сделку. Открытие брокера. Правильный выбор для ваших инвестиций.
So this video is going to be a lot different than most of my videos. The channel has grown so fast, so quickly in the last year. I just wanted to kind of stop and say thank you. So in this video, I'm going to share a little bit more about myself and the questions that you usually ask in the comment section. Just kind of like share my life, how I got to Japan, how the YouTube channel started, all the questions that you guys wanted to know that I never really answered in my previous videos. This video may be a little bit boring because it's all about me. I generally focus on topics about Japan, but I guess this is for the people that are like generally interested and want to know more about me. So I'm making it for you guys. This is kind of my way of saying thank you so much for being a part of this channel. I kind of wanted to do this video outside. I don't really like doing videos inside. Plus, I feel like it's a better way to show you Tokyo and show you Japan when I'm outside as opposed to being inside. But yeah, so this video is going to be done, all outside. But I do apologize for the sound if it's just terrible. And I apologize if I'm sweating because it still is really, really hot in Tokyo. I'm actually in the Yogi Park. It's actually one of my favorite parts in Tokyo. Some of you might already know I live in Shibuya, so it's just right next door. So why not do the video here? So let's start with this. So as of earlier this year, I'm completely full-time on YouTube. Meaning that I quit my consulting job. I also closed down my other company, which was kind of like an app business. So basically, I'm full-time on my other company, which was kind of like an app business. So basically, I'm full-time creating content on YouTube now. It's been quite the transition, but I don't regret any of it at all. In fact, I don't do this channel all by myself. Some of you already know that Maiko, my wife, also does this channel with me. Most of the times you don't see her because she's behind the camera, but she's very much part of this channel. But it is a bit kind of scary that now this channel is our, how do you say, our main source of revenue, our main source of income. And we kind of just need to figure out how we can produce content for you guys, as well as kind of like earn a living. And the thing is, Michael and I really love making videos. We love going to different places, trying out new food, and it's just kind of one of the passions that we've kind of grown into over the last few years. Basically, we just need to find a way to make it work so that we can continue doing what we love. And who knows, we might be starting a family down the road, so it's kind of a bit overwhelming, but also exciting at the same time. So one of the things we were thinking was to introduce memberships. If you guys aren't familiar with memberships, it's kind of something new on YouTube. The reason this idea came about is actually from you guys. A lot of you just want more access. So one of the things that we were thinking of doing is providing people who sign up and support the channel with memberships access to behind the scenes footage, additional information on some of my secret spots in Tokyo, live chats, and just in general more access that you wouldn't get normally in my videos. Probably before this video releases or shortly after this video releases, we'll have memberships set up. So for those of you who want to help support the channel, then those are kind of the ways to do it. But I should also say, for those of, oh gosh, anyway, it's getting a little bit too windy here. Let's try to find a place that's less windy. And for those of you who aren't able to support the channel, no worries. The channel still stays the same. I release the same content every week. It's just for those of you who want to help support the channel, now the option is available. And look, there's a festival going on at the park today. So this is a little bit better than the park. There's less wind, less birds squawking, and yeah, I feel a little bit more comfortable for some reason. Oh, there's the wind. I guess we couldn't get rid of the wind. And another thing I wanted to talk about, the channel direction. Since the channel is getting larger, there's more of you guys watching these videos. I kind of wanted to stay a little bit more focused. So probably moving forward, you'll see a lot more Japan-focused videos. Or you used to see tech, you used to see us going to Vietnam, the Philippines, Thailand. I know this channel started off as a Japan vlog, but it wasn't that popular, unfortunately. And the construction started. Shoot. I guess we got to move on to the next spot. I really like this spot too. It's still so hot outside. Anyways, so I've actually sat at this spot before. Does anyone know which video I was sitting in this exact spot? So just to continue where we left off, one of the ideas I've had is I kind of want to start a second channel to be able to share with you guys kind of the stuff that Michael and I are doing on a regular basis, maybe some of the trips we go on kind of outside of Japan, less edited, less curated, more real, more raw, just kind of like us living our daily lives and having kind of our regular adventures as opposed to kind of like the curated, very focused topics on this channel. I think we're going to kind of share more of our lives and kind of like what we're doing. And who knows, maybe in the future when we have a little one around, they'll also be on the channel. I don't really know the name of it. It could be something like Tokyo Zebra or Degusmans from Tokyo. I don't really know. Maybe you guys can let me know what you guys think. Also, I don't even know if there's actually a real interest in people wanting to see that channel. So what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description as well as a link to that channel in a pinned comment so you guys can see it. And if you do get enough subscribers, then we'll start another channel. If not, then maybe we won't make the channel. It's just really up to you guys. If you want to see it, let me know. So one of the questions that I often get is, how did you get to Japan? I actually came here as an exchange student. I was going to school in LA at a school called Pepperdine University. in my third year of university, I decided to apply for the Japan exchange program. I just kind of had a fascination of Japan, the culture, and especially the technology. Before coming to Japan, I did a semester in Florence, and I kind of got this travel bug, and I decided that it was kind of a little bit too late because you usually go overseas your sophomore year or your junior year. You can spend your senior year and graduate with your class. I didn't actually do that. I was kind of late, decided to go, and it was already my senior year. So I ended up not being able to walk in my class, but I did decide to apply for the exchange program, and I was I was accepted. One thing that I remember though is right before, maybe a couple months before I was supposed to fly to Japan, I was offered an internship for a software company in Santa Monica, which is in LA. And at that point, I was kind of torn whether or not, hey, I should take this job and perhaps kind of develop a career out of it, or should kind of I risk it and go to Japan. But I thought about it for some time, and I just realized in Santa Monica, which is in LA. And at that point, I was kind of torn whether or not, hey, I should take this job and I did for a software company in Santa Monica, which is in LA. And at that point, I was kind of torn whether or not, hey, I should take this job and perhaps kind of develop a career out of it, or should kind of I risk it and go to Japan. But I thought about it for some time, and I just realized that I may never get a chance to see Japan. And if I did get to see Japan, and maybe later on in my career, after maybe having a house, a family, and all of that, it just wouldn't be the same. I wanted to experience Japan when I was young, kind of have that full experience of Japan. So I packed my bags and I headed to Japan. Man, when I first arrived in Japan, I was so excited. Everything was so interesting. Everything was so new. My whole world was kind of blown away, and I just fell in love with this place. But at the same time, I was pretty lost. But that's kind of like the magic of everything, is discovering a whole new world here. And when I make my videos today, I try to remember me back in that time, how confused I was, all the things that I wanted to know, all the things that I had questions about. And so when I make those videos, I'm kind of talking to myself back in the day. Hopefully I can help that guy out, because he was so lost. So luckily my university had an exchange program, and their sister school was actually Sophia University, which is here in Tokyo, which was really convenient. I even had a homestay family for the first year, so it made everything really convenient. I even had a homestay family for the first year. So it made everything really easy. I didn't have to worry about rent. I didn't have to worry about board. It was kind of all included. All I had to really worry about was just my living expenses. I only had about $2,000 to $3,000, if I remember correctly, in my bank, and that was kind of enough. I didn't really have to worry about all the different costs. I was going to school, and that was enough for me to be able to get by. Initially though, I was able to find an English teaching job, just like a part-time job for a couple hours a week. I would teach the kids of some family friends. So I think at the time I was making about $30 an hour. So then someone asked me to teach a group of kids English after school. I think it was about 2.5 hours for one session, once a week. They paid me like $120. Then I picked up another job teaching English. I was working a few hours a week, and I was making $300 in pocket change. And that was just kind of enough for me to get by, plus my $2,000 to $3,000 I had saved up. For the first few months in Japan, I didn't really worry about cash too much. As far as language goes, I kind of studied a little bit right before I came to Japan, but I mean, I just kind of knew some hiragana, maybe a handful of words. But it wasn't until after I went to university, I started learning a lot more, and then using it here in Japan with the homestay family as well as friends. And what you'll learn with a second language is you just never stop learning. So in general, life was pretty good, hanging out with friends, discovering new places, making okay money for a college student. At the time, obviously, I was on a student visa. I initially got a 1-year visa, but as I started to like Japan more and more, I decided that, I'm going to figure out a way to kind of stay out here. I think it was a good idea for me to come here as a student first, to kind of figure out whether or not I liked it, and I started trying to figure out a more permanent way to stay out here in Tokyo. I started by just looking for jobs. I think I looked in some magazines at the time to see if there's any jobs available, and if I could recall correctly, I interviewed with 2 jobs. The first job was a miserable fail. The second job I actually ended up getting. First job was for, I think, a magazine for one, like an account manager. And I went in there, and mind you, I was still a college student, so I never had like a real professional job before. And in high school, I worked for Safeway bagging groceries, but I never had a professional career. I remember going in to that interview, and I think one of the first questions they asked me is, how do I manage my schedule? I pretty much told them, I don't really have a schedule to manage. I go to classes and I hang out with my friends. I think they were probably expecting me to like show them like the calendar system I use or something like that. But obviously I didn't have those skills at the time, so that interview didn't go so well. But the second interview I went into was for an IT firm. I was a computer science and business major, and so when I went into the interview, I was able to answer basic questions about computers, how things work. Safe to say, I got the job with the IT firm. They hired me on as an associate engineer. It was more on the systems and infrastructure side of IT, but I really, really liked it. As a student in Japan, you can work, I believe 20 hours a week. So once I got this job, then I quit all the English teaching job, which actually worked out really well because after my second year of university, IT firm just hired me on full time. They sponsored my working visa here in Japan, and I worked with them for several years. I started as an associate engineer, went to engineer, and then eventually became a project manager. And during those several years, I learned a lot about Japanese business culture. It wasn't uncommon for me to work 10 to 12 hours a day. I worked a lot of weekends, but luckily the company I was working for had kind of more Western culture, so I did get paid the overtime for my work, which was nice. There was just a lot of projects going on at the time.
Круто. Нормально, видишь, вот. Видишь, как бы, я зазнался, да. Ну да, это слабость, наверное, слабый любовь. Ну да. Все равно надо проект надо понимать. Типа того. Самые успешные люди, самые такие, не все равно делают, надо понимать. Ну это так уж как бы выдыхался, просто выдыхаться, и все, выдыхаться. Круто, спасибо. Кстати, реально просто вообще так хорошо, да. Вроде ничего особенного, то есть, да, хорошо. Да, да. Ну это же хорошо, да? Извините. Вы да. Звонок за цвета. Что еще у меня слабенько? Сколько можно это уже играть? Ну, сначала, что ли? Нет. Все равно делать нехрен, смотри, хоть это. Часть, наверное, просто какая-нибудь, да. Гулять как это самое, да, не знаю, что это, да. Народ, ну нет, понял, да. Народ, она имеет в виду как. Народ, так нет. А, он это имеет в виду, что ли, так нет. А, ну нет, он тебе так подумал просто, да. Нет, ребят, ладно. Подсознание соединено, там, соединяется с миром, вселенной. Да, понял. Да, честно говоря, да. Ну и что? Ну, отсюда слышно, когда понимаешь, да. Не знаю, испытай на себе шкуру. Че, боишься, да? Да, светит тебе, да, солнце, да. Да, понял, да. А какая разница? Да. Управляй себе здоровье, как говорится, да. Ну, надо идти, правда, просто, да. Но надо добавлять лишний денег.